Coming up today, after an exchange of fire, North Korea threatens further military action against South Korea if Seoul doesn't shut off loudspeakers at the inter-Korean border. President Park Geun-hye will travel to China early next month to attend a ceremony highlighting the 70th anniversary of Japan's surrender in World War II. She'll also hold summit talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Plus, the search for the suspect behind the deadly Bangkok blast continues. Thai police say the bombing was unlikely linked to international terrorism. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Hello and welcome. It's 6 a.m. on Friday, August 21st here in Seoul. I'm Mark Broome and you're tuned in to our early morning edition of Arirang News. Our top story this morning, North Korea has warned that it will take further military action if South Korea continues to broadcast anti-Pyongyang material across the border. Pyongyang on Thursday said Seoul had 48 hours to power down the loudspeakers. The threat came a matter of hours after the North attempted to fire on one of those speakers. South Korea retaliated by firing artillery rounds back the other way. For a wrap-up of the day's events, Kim Jongun reports.
It was 3:53 p.m. and 4:12 p.m. on Thursday when North Korea fired several artillery shells across the border, targeting South Korea's propaganda loudspeakers right along the military demarcation line. Seoul's defense ministry announced earlier Thursday that a shell firing was picked up on radar moving towards the southwestern front, but that there were no reports of damage. An hour or so after the attack, the South Korean military responded with tens of 155mm artillery rounds at the origin of attack.
Our military has upped its security condition to the highest level and is looking for any unusual movements from the north. We will strongly counter any future provocation from the north.
The ministry said an evacuation order was issued for nearby areas, and more than 2,000 residents were evacuated. Even the highest alert, Jindoke 1, was issued along some parts of the border. North Korea's General Staff Department warned that South Korea has 48 hours to stop broadcasting anti-Pyongyang messages, or it will take strong military action. In a separate letter, North Korea's ruling Workers' Party Secretary Kim Jongun urged the head of South Korea's National Security Office, Kim Jongun, to halt all propaganda broadcasts, calling the messages a declaration of war. The letter also said North Korea would make efforts to improve inter-Korean ties if the South shuts down the loudspeakers. But South Korea's defense ministry says it has no plans to stop the broadcast. North Korea has refused to admit or apologize for recent landmine explosions in the DMZ that severely injured 2 South Korean soldiers. The incident drove the South to resume the broadcast for the first time in 11 years. Since then, North Korea has demanded that the South tear down the loudspeakers or risk indiscriminate attacks as a consequence. Kim Jongun, Arirang News.
North Korea has denied responsibility for provoking the exchange of artillery fire with South Korea. The North state broadcasters issued an emergency report early Friday in which Pyongyang instead accused Seoul of firing shells towards the north, using what they called a non-existent pretext to attack the regime, calling the South's firing a grave military provocation that can never be tolerated. The North again denied that it was behind the recent landmine explosion in the DMZ that injured 2 South Korean soldiers. The report added that the Central Military Commission of the ruling Workers' Party convened an emergency meeting Thursday night to discuss the situation without providing further details. It also said the North is closely watching how South Korea will respond to its warning that it would take strong military action unless the South stops border propaganda broadcasts within 48 hours. So the deadline is Saturday, 5 p.m. Korea time, slightly under 36 hours from now. President Park Geun-hye convened an emergency meeting of the National Security Council Standing Committee shortly after word of the North's artillery firing was reported. Presiding over Thursday afternoon's meeting herself, President Park was first briefed on the situation and the South Korean military's initial response from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the defense minister and her top security advisor. The president called on the military to firmly respond to the North's provocations and to maintain full readiness. She also asked the military to do everything it can to ensure the safety and protection of the South Korean people. And the international community has expressed concern over the spike in tension on the Korean peninsula and urged North Korea to refrain from actions that threaten peace and security in the region. US State Department spokesman John Kirby said Washington is concerned by North Korea's firing of a projectile into South Korea. He added the US is steadfast in its commitment to the alliance with South Korea and to the defense and security of the peninsula. Russia has also expressed its concerns. Russia's foreign ministry said it couldn't help but be concerned by such incidents and asked all sides to refrain from actions that could worsen the situation. Now, in other news, President Park Geun-hye will attend China's war victory celebrations in Beijing early next month, but a formal decision on the president's attendance at the Chinese military's parade is yet to be confirmed. Choi Yi-sun reports.
The presidential office of Cheongwade confirmed that President Park will embark on a 3-day trip to China on September 2nd to attend events marking the 70th anniversary of Japan's surrender in World War II on the 3rd. She will also meet Chinese President Xi Jinping for summit talks, where North Korea's recent landmine attack in the demilitarized zone and the North's nuclear program will likely top the agenda. In Shanghai, President Park is expected to attend a reopening ceremony for the headquarters of Korea's provisional government during Japan's colonial rule. However, it remains to be seen whether she will attend the Chinese military's parade, the highlight of the war victory celebrations.
We are currently finalizing the details of President Park's trip to China and will make them known at the appropriate time.
While U.S. President Barack Obama and other Western leaders view the parade as a showcase of Beijing's military prowess and will likely skip the ceremonies, President Park will give it serious deliberation considering Korea's relations with its major regional partner, China, and a key ally, the U.S. President Park is expected to take the initiative in Beijing to address diplomacy issues in Northeast Asia and to restore momentum for resuming the long-stalled trilateral summit with China and Japan later this year. If Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe attends the celebrations and progress is made regarding a three-way meeting, it may help narrow historical differences and improve Seoul's relations with Tokyo. President Park's office added there were no signs that North Korean leader Kim Jongun or any high-ranking official from Pyongyang will attend the events. Choi Yi-sun, Arirang News.
Now, another discussion point surrounding China's upcoming war victory celebrations is the likelihood or not of North Korean leader Kim Jongun making an appearance. Experts say the current frosty ties between Beijing and Pyongyang, as well as Kim's reluctance to leave the country, means he will likely stay away. Hwang Sang-yi reports.
If North Korean leader Kim Jong-un attends China's war victory celebrations, it will mark his first overseas trip since assuming power in 2011. It will also signal the normalization of strained Beijing-Pyongyang ties and possible progress on North Korea's denuclearization. But the chances of seeing the young leader in China next month are slim. With just 2 weeks left until the celebrations, relations between the two longtime allies remain frosty with no sign of thawing. Besides, Pyongyang has yet to send its RSVP to Beijing. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi and his North Korean counterpart Lee Soo-yong did not hold a separate meeting at the ASEAN Regional Forum earlier this month. Experts say Kim's absence in China next month will also diffuse hopes for better inter-Korean relations.
Kim's absence will close the window for Beijing to persuade Pyongyang to refrain from any military provocations in time for the 70th anniversary of the founding of the Korean Workers' Party. Tensions will be high from the end of this year and next year.
If Kim decides to attend, some point to the possibility of a surprise meeting between President Park Geun-hye and the North Korean leader. Hwang Sang-yi, Arirang News.
Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras has stepped down to force early elections. In a televised statement on Thursday, Tsipras said he was leaving office and asked Greek voters to judge whether he had represented them well enough in a battle with international creditors on austerity demands. His decision clears the way for elections next month, with sources suggesting September 20th as a possible date. Tsipras remains popular with the Greek people, but his position within the Syriza party has become untenable after a rebellion by hardliners who oppose the terms of Greece's third bailout agreement. It turns out July was the warmest month on Earth since record-keeping began in 1880. The US-based National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says Earth's average surface temperature last month was 16.61 degrees Celsius, and that beats the previous global mark set in 1998 and 2010. A climate scientist at the administration also says it's quite likely that 2015 will end up the hottest year on record, beating last year. The expert says the data reaffirms the Earth is warming, with a boost this year from the El Niño warming of the Pacific Ocean. Over in Thailand now, when the search for the suspect behind the deadly Bangkok bomb blast continues, Thai police have announced that they have ruled out international terrorism. Authorities are now looking for more perpetrators that may have links to the deadly attack. Won Ji-yeon has the latest.
Thailand is seeking the help of Interpol to capture the man believed to be responsible for a fatal Bangkok bomb blast this week. Police believe the man is a foreigner, but they're not sure where he's from or if he's left the country. 20 people, including many foreigners, were killed in the blast at the Arirang shrine in downtown Bangkok. Police say as many as 10 people could have been involved in the attack, although it's unlikely they're linked to any terror group.
Security agencies have cooperated with agencies from allied countries and have come to the preliminary conclusion that the incident is unlikely to be linked to international terrorism.
The government says the bombing was designed to wreck Thailand's economy, as the shrine is particularly popular with tourists. Police have released a detailed sketch and a warrant for the man they believe planted a bomb on the bench near the shrine. The person in the drawing is fair-skinned with thick black hair, a wispy beard, and black glasses. A $28,000 reward has been offered to anyone who can provide information leading to his arrest. Authorities think the bomber may be part of a network of Thai nationals. Thailand's prime minister has asked the man to turn himself in. Some of the people killed in the attack still have yet to be identified. Won Ji-yeon, Arirang News.
Former Prime Minister and current opposition party lawmaker Han Myung-suk has been convicted on charges of receiving illegal political funds back in 2007. Korea's Supreme Court on Thursday upheld a lower court's 2-year prison sentence for Han. The 70-year-old politician was found guilty of accepting around $750,000 in bribes from a businessman in return for influence peddling. She denied the accusations and has been undergoing trials for the past 5 years. The conviction strips Han of her seat in Parliament. She also becomes the first former Prime Minister to go to prison. Now, soon after the ruling, Han, leaders and lawmakers of the main opposition New Politics Alliance for Democracy pleaded her innocence. They also criticised the ruling as political persecution. Han served as the first gender equality minister during the Kim Dae-jung administration and was the first ever female prime minister during the Roh Moo-hyun administration. Korea's rival parties have agreed to start parliamentary inspections of government offices next month. The 3-week audit session will last from September 10th until just before the Chuseok holidays, and then will resume on October 1st through the 8th. The ruling Saenuri Party wanted to hold the audit session as soon as the September regular session started. The main opposition NPAD agreed to the ruling bloc's demands, as the National Assembly needs to work on budget examinations for next year. However, with only 3 livelihood bills passed thus far and just 2 weeks remaining before the close of the August extraordinary session, concerns are mounting that it will fail to yield any significant results. Well, those are the stories we've been following on this Friday morning here in Seoul. For more of the latest, don't forget to check out our website arirang.com/news. We also have a smartphone application which you can download. Just search for Arirang TV. We do hope you have a great weekend. Goodbye.